So if you guys don't know me, I did the typical for sale by owner, called every single real estate agent in the world. I've done Facebook Marketplace. I've done for sale by owners on Zillow. I did everything that you could do possibly for free. Okay. I've done all the free things in the world and then eventually started making some money, was closing about 2 to 3 deals a month using that strategy. And then I've joined all sorts of mentorships. Okay. So if you guys, don't know me, I've been in part of Sub 2 community. I've been a part of other masterminds as well, specifically for wholesaling. And, I think a lot of you guys are kind of in the same situation that I was going through when I was looking for an answer, right? So basically, once I was doing 2 to 3 deals a month, I was like, hey, what is the next step for me to close more deals, right? Everyone wants to scale a business, hire a team and start closing 5 deals, 6 deals, and even 10 plus deals a month, right? So I went through all the different marketing channels, all the different marketing sources. And I actually in 2023, towards the end of 2023, I actually started doing I joined a specific program specifically to scale a wholesale business, right? So this program that I was doing cost me about $25,000. And to be honest, I swiped a business credit card to fund it and all this stuff because, I wanted to do the American dream, right? I wanted to scale my business and do 7 plus deals a month and just do this full time. And in a lot of these programs, they talk about inbound marketing, right? They talk about inbound marketing like PPLs, doing direct mail, and all these crazy things, right? And basically, you know, you start to realize when you're doing these type of marketing leads, right? Like when you're doing PPLs and direct mail, you start to see how much money you're truly spending. I think I was spending about $10,000 to $13,000 a month in marketing alone. And I was starting to go upside down. And we're going to talk about all these things, right? Because of, when you're doing all these wholesale things, you don't realize what a cash conversion cycle is, right? You're not tracking KPIs. And I was swiping this credit card, like, praying that I was going to get, 2, 3 deals a month just to like pay back my credit cards, right? So I think in the middle of 2024, I not only reduced the amount of deals I was doing, but I was also spending like, 20, $30,000 more than I normally would have, right? And ultimately, I saw the writing on the wall. I saw that I could not maintain this business model. It's just not sustainable, just spending all this money, right? I see Jake Crow over here, right? He's like, true, right? I know your story very, very well, right? Doing that direct mail stuff. Um, is it RD? Well, I'm not going to talk about specific programs, right? Because I don't want to talk bad about any programs. I've gained a lot of value from every single program in different ways. But you know, results driven is a good program in terms of like coaching and scaling a business, like in terms of hiring. So I learned a ton of value from there. But yeah, so basically, ultimately, we learned what, it was not sustainable, right? So I'm going to kind of break down the different marketing channels that I used and talk about the specific KPIs, right? Because a lot of you guys probably don't track your KPIs or don't know what a KPI is. Okay. So is anybody in the chat? Do you guys know what KPI is? So if you type a one in the chat, that you know what a KPI is. Damn, bro, I stand corrected. You guys are freaking Jedi Masters in wholesale, right? Taylor, yep, absolutely. Right. And we're gonna do a little breakdown of all of it. So Sonia, don't worry, we're gonna talk about it, right? It's basically all the key metrics that you should be tracking for each marketing channel. And we're gonna kind of go through these real quick, right? And I'm gonna talk about all the different inbound marketing leads that I was doing. And I'm not saying they're not effective. It's just um we're just gonna do a little breakdown, okay? So if you guys don't know what PPLs are, right? PPL is a pay per lead, right? So I'm not going to talk about specific companies or businesses out there, but if you guys don't know what PPLs are, it's basically a service where you're actually paying a company and they're going to give you a lead, right? So basically, every lead is a different cost. So for instance, every company nowadays, most of them are a bidding system. So if I'm competing in my old market in Louisville, Kentucky, I think my cost per lead was about $400, right? So I would have to spend $400 for every lead that comes into my box, and then it's my job to call them and try to close them, right? And does anybody know what the national industry standard for how many leads you need to convert a contract with PPO? I think it's kind of changed in a bit. So 1 to 15, 1 to 17, right? Yeah. So it's basically like 1 to 15 to like, but it's been getting worse. So I think it's like 1 to 15 to like 1 to 24, right? So if we're just going off of 1 and 15, so I would need 15 leads to get a contract, right? I'm so bad at math. Does anybody know how much money that costs? Literally, I'm so bad at math. So 400, 15, oh, $5,000 or $6,000. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Michael. Michael's the man, guys. If you guys have not connected with Michael, he's an absolute beast. Does a ton of creative deals. So you guys should definitely connect with him. But yeah, $6,000, right? So if you're doing $6,000 for a contract, right? And then in Louisville, Kentucky, I think the average deal size. So if I were to wholesale a deal in Louisville, Kentucky, I would probably make $8,000 to $10,000, right? So 8 to 10K in Louisville, Kentucky. Do you think in the large scheme of things, do you think this is a profitable business model? At first, I thought it was like, no, it's horrible, right? The only way to sustain this type of marketing and amount of spend, you would need to freaking start flipping. So that's what I did. So as a good student of a specific program, I started doing inbound marketing, and we were spending 10, 13, $14,000 a month. And the only way to break even or to become profitable is to flip more properties. So if you guys don't know my story, I was flipping 3 houses a month in 2024 just to like make a little bit of profit, right? And that is an insane amount of risk to take in order to, have a sustainable business, right? And that's just one of the type of marketing source that we're talking about tonight, right? So PPLs. And the big thing is, if you guys don't know about PPLs, PPLs are under a lot of scrutiny now because the truth is getting, you know, I guess, revealed about paper leads. So it's not actually a pay per click where someone's running an advertisement, someone's clicking in, opting in, saying that they want to sell their house. It's actually starting to become like kind of like a third party, fourth party thing. So I'm going to kind of draw it, right? So a company's running ads and a seller is saying that they want to sell their house. In a normal PPL, it would be a company running these ads and then they would sell you this lead, right? And then that's you. You're all happy because you're going to close this deal. It's the best lead that you're ever going to get, right? So currently getting regulated by the 1-in-1 consent rule by the federal government, right? So that is absolutely spot on. So by law, it has to be I'm a seller and I opt in to your lead. It's technically you're supposed to call me, right? So the problem is these companies are selling these leads. The problem is now these companies are selling it to another provider, and then they're selling it to another provider, and then they're selling it to another provider, and then eventually it gets to you, right? And there's also no real control over, how many people that they're really selling that lead to, right? Because in reality, that company, we don't really know what's going on the back end, but that company can be selling that lead to like 4 or 5 different people at the same time, right? So you're paying $400 for this lead, and they're secretly giving it to like 4 or 5 different investors at the same time. So then you have to compete for those same leads. Does that sound like absolute bullshit? I think that's bullshit. I see you, Drew. I see you smiling, bro. By the way, if you guys don't have your cameras on, please, please, please turn your camera on, or else I'm gonna be staring at myself and a whole bunch of black screens, and that's just not cool. Just absolutely not cool. I'm taking a quick pause looking at your beautiful faces. What's up, Peter Zinko? What's up, brother? Cool. Sherry, it's okay. It's okay. You're just camera shy. I get it. Cool. All right. So you guys kind of get where I'm going with PPLs. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying it's really risky, right? It's really risky. and it costs a crap ton of money. Okay. Anyone out there doing direct mail right now? Because that's what I'm gonna be talking about next. No one's doing direct mail. So direct mail actually is a really good marketing channel. It's just extremely costly, right? Because on average, your key metric that you want is a 0.5% response rate with direct mail. So, and I think the industry standard for direct mail is what, 1 in 42, I think. I believe is 1 in 42 leads. So every 42 people that opt in and say or call you back and say, "Hey, I want to sell you my house and I got your postcard or letter or mail checker." You need to talk to 42 of those people, right? So if you need to get to 52 people and you have a 5% response rate, you would probably need about 10,000 mailers that get sent out to prospects, right? And out of that 10,000 mailers, there's a whole different type of way to actually effectively market direct mail. So if you guys don't know, with direct mail, you have to send it out in multiple like bulks, right? So it takes about 3 to 4 touches for a seller. So they'll receive 3 to 4 mailers in the mail before they actually call you, right? So if you're looking at this, if you're doing 3 to 4 touches to get a seller to call you, that's what, 40,000 pieces of mail to equal one contract. I think I was spending, I think I was spending $6,000 a month on just direct mail. And I think we were getting a 0.2% response rate. And half of those 0.2, half those people that responded was absolutely bad, right? They're like, why the heck are you calling me? You're freaking lowballing me with your crappy checks, right? And then you kind of have to like you do a different sales technique, right? But with direct mail, it is super effective, right? It's kind of like a wide net strategy, right? But I would not recommend doing direct mail if you guys are starting out, right? Because I know a lot of people that have been trying to do direct mail. They would send about $1,000, $2,000 worth of mailers and get no deals out of it, right? Because you're not sending enough. You're not sending enough. You're not sending them. How much did you spend for each mailer? So if you do it yourself, you can do it with like 40 to 50 cents a mailer, right? But the problem is if you're doing a lot of mail, so if you're sending 10,000 mailers, you're probably going to use a mailer company, right? And there's a whole bunch of different mailing companies, but I think the one that I was doing was about $1.25 per mailer. So you can see where it gets extremely pricey, right? And basically just breaking down the numbers, if I'm sending 10,000 mailers, right, I would need to send 10,000 mailers to hit that 0.5% response rate to get that one contract, right? So if I'm spending $1 to $2,000 a month or $5,000 a month, you're kind of like just gambling, right? Essentially, because when you think about it in cost conversion cycle, so if you guys don't know what a cost conversion cycle is, when you spend $1, right? The cash conversion cycle is how long it takes for you to see a profit or to get your money back, right? So with direct mail, it's about a 4 to 6 month cash conversion cycle. And I'll kind of break it down how it looks like, right? So if you send a mailer today, so you're going to send, this is day one, and you're going to send your mailer out. And it takes about 30 days, 30 to 45 days for them to look at your mail, smell your mail, go through it, see your second piece of mail come in. They're like, dang, okay, this guy sent me 2 or 3 pieces of mail. One's pink, one's yellow. Man, he's kind of thinking about me a little bit, right? So now I'm going to call you back. So then they're going to call you back for the first time. When you start adding follow-ups and you start adding your closing calls, your process calls, and then ultimately getting an offer done, that takes about another 30 days, right? This is your negotiations and contract, right? And then once you get it closed, what, it takes about another 30 days to close, right? So how long is that? That's about 4 months. So if you are spending, $5,000 a month, you have to be able to spend $5,000 a month for those 4 to 6 months, right? Because if you stop spending money on mail, you're not going to get any more leads from the mailers, right? It's just going to stop. And also, you're not going to hit the seller enough in order to get them to call you anyway, right? So if you're spending $5,000 a month in 4 months, you spent $20,000 in marketing spend in just direct mail, and you're not guaranteed a deal, right? So do you see how snowbally this could be when you're like a newer investor, right? Getting told to switch your whole business to inbound marketing? It's extremely risky, right? How often are you sending mailers? So I like to hit the seller 3 to 4 times. So I do a bi-weekly cadence. So I send one piece of mail on day one. On day 14, that second batch goes out, right? And if you're sending a lot of mail, so this is just a little heads up. So if you're sending 10,000 pieces of mail, you probably don't want to send all 10,000 on the same week. So you can break that up into other weeks, right? So like, let's say you can send 5,000 on week one. You can send 5,000 on week two, and that's batch one, right? And then you would repeat that process. So week three, you would send 5,000 again. So this is batch two now. You send 5,000 week three, and then 5,000 week four. And that's your second batch. And you would pretty much put that in rotation. Does that make sense, Jose? And sorry for my chicken scratches. Okay, cool. So this does this all kind of make sense for you guys in terms of like cash conversion cycle, tracking your KPIs, right? So the biggest thing about KPIs is whatever marketing channel you use, you want to make sure that you know how many leads you need to have for that one marketing channel that usually converts into a lead or to a contract, right? And obviously you want to use the industry standards because every company is different, right? And then if you're a newer investor, it's probably going to take you more leads, right? So if you're a brand new wholesaler that doesn't have really good dialed in sales processes, that 1 in 42, maybe 1 in 50, 1 in 53, right? If you're an extremely good salesperson, you have a really good team dialed in, you might be able to lower that number, right? Because you want to know what those KPIs are, what they match, right? Because ultimately, if you don't know those numbers, you really don't know, you have no predictability in your business, right? And that's the whole point of inbound marketing, is to essentially create a more consistent or more predictable business where you know how many leads you're actually going to get. Cool. How about setting up meetings right at different real estate companies in your area and pitching realtors directly? Yeah, I mean, that's free marketing, right? So that's free marketing. Um, there's no cost to that by talking to realtors, right? And if you get a couple of realtors to send you deals, that's absolutely a win, right? But that's not predictable. I think that's the biggest problem is you can talk to 1,000 agents in the world and you're relying on that agent to send you a deal, right? And if you're first starting out and you want to hit up agents, totally do it, right? I'm not telling you not to. It's just not really predictable. So at the end of this presentation, as we move on, right? So I kind of go through the flow of this presentation. I'm going to kind of tell you how I've kind of figured out and how to find something that's more predictable for my business. Because ultimately, once I started spending all this money and I started to see like, oh my gosh, like I cannot keep maintaining spending all this money and trying to generate leads. And I've been just absolutely searching for this one thing or two things to really dial in my business. And what I really realized and what I kind of figured out was I found this one lead generation source that really cut my marketing sources down. And this is kind of like the whole point of it, right? Like basically, this one lead source that I want to talk to you guys about really helped me out because it actually optimized my business, right? Because how many of you guys in this Zoom do cold calling? It should be most of you guys, right? Can you guys tell me if you guys are cold calling right now? Okay. Doing it right now. See, Tony's cold calling right now, right? And how many times do you cold call people and you're just calling like 10, 20, 30,000 records a day or a month, I mean, and you're getting just crap data. You're getting crap data. You're getting people that don't want to sell. They're upset that you're freaking calling, right? You're right. 20 a day, right? You get 20 people a day that are just like F off, right? So the reason why is because you're essentially doing the needle in the haystack method, right? And if you guys don't know this, cold calling should be split into three tiers, right? And this is going to lead into what I'm currently doing in my business. So cold calling is split into three tiers. And this is where most of you guys are going to fall into one of these three categories. So tier one, or the bottom tier, actually, let's go from worst to best, right? So tier three cold calling is you're pulling 20 to 30,000 records a month. And these are off websites and data services, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about. You pay $100 a month for a data software platform. You're pulling these lists, right? Pre-foreclosure, probate, whatever you're pulling, code violations, absentee owners, whatever. You're pulling these 20, 30,000 records, and then you're going to skip trace these. You're going to skip trace with that same data provider to find out the owner. And then you obviously, as a single as a solopreneur, you're probably hiring some VAs, right? So you'll probably need two to three VAs that are calling these lists in order to get through that entire list, right? And most of these VAs are foreign, the Philippines, Egyptians, right? Like we all use different VAs, right? And this is literally the needle in the haystack method. So you're calling thousands of records, and none of these people have a particular pain, right? Most of these people are people that are just coming home, watching the Super Bowl, right? They're eating dinner with their wife, and they're getting this random phone call from, your VA, and they're like, "Hey, are you selling this property?" Right? And it's like, "No, dude, like stop calling me," right? So that is tier three. That's probably the worst cold calling, and that's, ultimately what most of us are doing. And this is extremely expensive, right? Because 20 to 30,000 records, that costs $100 for the data, and then you're gonna skip trace all these things. So it's like what, $2,000 to $3,000, right, to skip trace, and then what, another $2,000 a month on your VAs, and then you're gonna do a what, ready mode power dialer, right? And then if you're doing three seats, it's like $600. Right. So all in all, you're probably spending, 5 to 6 grand a month on just cold calling. Right. Absolutely insane. Is anybody doing this right now? It's okay. It's okay if you guys are doing this because this is what we were doing. Right. We were pulling massive loads of data. We were skip tracing all this data, and your VAs are just dialing and dialing and dialing. Yeah. So Giselle, right? How's that been going for you? Victor, 9 months cash conversion cycle. Yeah, cold calling is one of the longest cash conversion cycles, right? So let's get dialed in a little bit, okay? Let's go to tier two. Oh God, technical difficulties here. So tier two, you're still gonna pull data. You're still gonna pull data, but it's gonna be less, right? You're gonna pull, 10 to 15 to 20K records. And these are data that's usually stacked, right? So this is like specific lists you're pulling. Um, these are, some businesses will talk about AI data, right? AI niche data. And ultimately, like it's kind of the same crap as tier three, but a little more specified. So these are lists that are actually more specific. So these are your absentees, these are your, people that are in distress, code violations, water shut off, all this craziness, right? So you're pulling less data. You're still going to skip trace, right? And then you're probably going to have less VA, so 1 to 2 VAs. And then you're still going to need a dialer, right? So you're probably going to spend $3,000 to $4,000 a month on this. And you'll have a higher chance of getting a deal converted, right? Because your lists are smaller. There's a little more niche to it. It's a little more pain, right? So when you do reach a seller, they're more likely to opt in and say that they're ready to sell. Okay. So after this, and guys, I'm telling you right now, it's absolutely okay if you're going through this because this was literally my journey in 2023 to recently, right? So until January of this year. So I was literally just burning money on another business credit card, right? If you guys haven't known, I'm a big business credit card guy. because I'm trying to live the American dream, right? So, but let's go into what the most important tier is, right? And this is the most optimized, right? Because the most important thing about running a wholesale business is to have an optimized business, right? Consistency, low overhead, and highest chance of actually converting leads. So tier three or tier one, I would say. So this is what I recommend. This is what we've shifted our business to. We're actually only pulling about 1,000 records a month. This is going to seem absolutely insane to you guys, right? So all you guys pulling all these freaking tens of thousands of records, it's absolutely not necessary. Okay. So we pull about 10,000, we pull about 1,000 to 1,300 records per month. And our market is actually in Houston, Texas. So a lot of you guys who actually do know me on this Zoom, I do in Houston. Mitchell, do I use Ready Mode? I do use Ready Mode. So I don't get any affiliate by it, right? I use Ready Mode because it is the best dialer out there. It has the highest connectivity rate, in my opinion. And also it has some pretty cool features with it that you can like kind of like upgrade into. Do you use their IQ plan? I do. I do use their IQ plan because it actually tells you when someone like reports you for DNC, it actually sends you an email saying that hey, someone reported your number, right? So it is a really good dialer. And in reality of it, it's not that expensive, but it's definitely worth it if you're going to use a power dialer. So tier one, we pull about 1,000 to 1,300 records, and then you obviously you have to skip trace it, right? And then we actually do not use any more foreign VAs, right? So I really recommend that if you're using very low amount of data and it's very niche, right? So what I do is these 1,000 records are niche data, right? And we're going to go through that in a second. So you want to pull these records, you want to skip trace these records, and then I actually have American dialers. And I'm going to explain why I use American dialers. The dialer is ready mode. Okay, so niche data. What is niche data? So a lot of you guys have probably heard all these like YouTube videos and all these things, right? Niche data is, foreclosure, probate, divorce, code violations, basically county or courthouse record data, right? This is very accessible to everybody, right? It's publicly, like you can get the data publicly, right? But it is an extremely time consuming process, right? Because you have to go through a ton of different documents and all this stuff. But you want to have American dialers. Why? Because American dialers understand emotion, they understand sarcasm. Because, dude, who has a foreign VA that has told you, "Hey, Tim, I got a freaking hot lead for you," and you're like, "Cool, I'm super excited for this." You look at the lead, and the seller says, "I'll sell it to you for $1 million. No questions asked. The house is yours." And then you look it on Zillow, and the house is like $102,000, right? The freaking VAs do not understand sarcasm. All right. Yeah, you get it all the time, right? It's freaking horrible. You're like, dude, you look it up online. That's like a $900,000 like cash discrepancy, right? So you want an American dollar because you only have 1,000 chances. So you want to maximize those chances. Also, if you're using niche data like county or courthouse record data, all these people are freaking in pain, right? So every time someone picks up the phone and they say hello and they say, "Are you the homeowner?" and they're like, "Yes," they are on a time crunch. There ain't no I'm gonna sell you my house in like 6, 7 months, bro. They're going through a foreclosure, right? So you got to solve their problem, and also having an American caller, especially someone who's trained on sales or behavioral therapy, right? Just understanding like emotional pain, they can help those people navigate those issues and solve the problem, which ultimately gives you the largest freaking wholesale checks, right? It's not the freaking bulk data where you hit some random seller that's like, "Oh yeah, like, I'm gonna freaking sell you my house," right? It just never happens. Where do you find American callers? You hire real people, right? So I actually hire people from Upwork, and you have a job listing, you interview them, right? but that's a whole different conversation, right? So, because it's a lot more complicated than me trying to explain it, right? But like hiring an American caller, there's so many different ways that you can do it, right? You can try to find, people to like JV with in the very beginning, but honestly, for us, we do salary and commission. That's kind of how we structure our American dialers, right? Because they work full time, right? But does that kind of make sense, guys? Like having an American dialer because you're calling very niche, very specific data lists that are in pain, right? You don't want to waste those opportunities with a foreign dialer that just does not understand what the process is. And if you really think about it, when you're calling 50,000 records a month, it's not really a sales skill, right? I mean, there is some scale or sales skills to it, but when you're calling these lists, right? When you're calling these lists, it's actually a sales thing because you have to understand what a foreclosure is. You have to understand what a divorce is. So you have to be able to walk them through that and help them through that situation. And then that's how you make your biggest assignments, right? So probate deals, they take the longest, but literally you can get a 40, $50,000 assignment fee off one probate deal, right? If you know how to navigate that issue, right? And if you guys follow me on social media, I talk about this one specific how I really crank a lot of deals from these type of lists is I actually use a ton of emails, right? Email marketing is like the most underrated marketing channel in the world because it is direct mail but free, right? If you're using a CRM, it's like 1,000th of a cent per email. But if you're literally balling on a budget, literally watch a YouTube video on mail merge. And literally, I have a friend that literally just uses mail merge, sends like 400 or 500 emails a month, and I think she's doing like 2 or 3 deals a month right now. It's absolutely insane. She just puts it on Mailbird, sends an email, right, with county courthouse record data, and she's actually printing cash, right? I think she's netting like 30, $40,000 a month right now, right? So with that being said, right, county courthouse data, super niche, American Dialer, most efficient, most optimized, like business model, in my opinion, right? In January, we locked up maybe 5 or 6 contracts in 1 month using county courthouse record data. And we were just calling them and sending them emails, right? Because every single person you reach is a motivated seller. So, but guys, I actually, from searching through the freaking world, manifesting all this stuff, right? I did come into a resource that's really helped me out, right? So remember how I said that county courthouse data takes a lot of time. So if you guys have watched some of my videos, from my YouTube videos, I actually kind of break down how to actually find these records. And it takes me, we literally had to use a VA and it was like a full-time job. Like they were like going through records for 8 hours a day to get like 10 or 20 records and it was absolutely horrible. And it gets really expensive as well. So I have a really good friend on today. I told you guys that I had a special guest. His name is James. And what basically, actually, how should I introduce you, bro? Like, we met a couple months ago. This guy, so he's an absolute beast. So they actually provide county courthouse data. And once I met them, I literally just, it's been life changing, right? We spent super low amounts of money and they skip trace the data, but I'm not gonna steal his thunder. I'm gonna freaking spotlight this dude because I see him laughing over here. Yo, what up, James?
Hey, what's up, Tim? Thanks for the introduction, man.
Bro, I was like, I don't even know what to say, man, because you're a freaking beast. You're an absolute life changer, bro.
No, you're the one that makes us look good, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time, man. So, guys, if you guys don't know James, man, this guy's an absolute beast, but I'm gonna let him talk real quick, and then I'm gonna pull myself off.
Let me share my screen, guys. I want to start by just saying, Tim, thanks so much for having me. Everybody, thanks for giving us a few hours of your day. I'm not gonna take a ton of time explaining what we do. Tim did a beautiful introduction, which I'm not used to. Usually I just get thrown into, these webinars and these meetings and stuff just fresh, so I have to explain everything. But that was a nice caveat into it. So, guys, I am James. It was a nice segue into the data syndicate, what Tim just did. I loved it. So we are that data that he is referring to. So we're the organization that is doing all that legwork to get you that niche data. I know I saw a lot of comments in there that was kind of breaking down like, where do you get this? How does this work? So what I want to do is I'm going to show you guys this slide. I'm going to present it to you. Before I actually do that, I just want to start the call off by just stating like I'm not a sales rep. That is not what I'm here to do. My ultimate goal is really just to educate you, kind of like Tim has been doing on this whole call, just kind of showing you the best practices. I've been in your guys' seat. I'll do a little introduction about that as well. But again, I am with the Data Syndicate. We are niche data that's going to give you a competitive advantage. So, with that said, I want to have you guys in the back of your mind during this presentation, just kind of think of, maybe what kind of advantage do you have right now with, your competition. So, with that being said, let me kind of just dive into this a little bit. Click on it here. So the first, a little bit about me. Sorry, I always forget about this part, guys. I'm a father. I'm a father of four wild boys. I'm a husband. I'm very busy. I try to do this on the back end as well. I do presentations like this quite frequently as well. So super busy, but a little bit about my background is I've been in the background screening industry for a little over 8 years. I've worked directly with county data. So when someone hires somebody, we need to go to courthouses and get up-to-date records on someone's background check. That's what we do. That's what I've been doing. That's how I got involved with the data syndicate. That's how we've kind of partnered together and built strong relationships to understand how we can get up-to-date information as soon as it's released. I'm a member of several masterminds, all kinds of communities across the board. So now my first time in here. But again, feel free to drop some questions in there. I think I have some of my support in here that'll try and answer some of your questions. But with that, let me kind of do a quick presentation here. So, guys, this is, I don't know what those blue lines are there, but I want to start by this. So right now, Tim's already gone over everything. The first thing I want to talk about is the trap of traditional marketing that he's broken down for you. A lot of you, or some of you, or maybe some of you are thinking about going this route. It is where I mean, and I love this presentation, so I want you to kind of visually having a shovel here. One, you're going to pay for those 20,000 leads, that bulk data. You're going to pay for it. You're going to take one shovel. That's how much money you're putting in. Next, you got to skip trace this. Tim has gone over this. I'll try not to hammer this too hard, but we've broken this down on usually how much it costs when you buy these bulk data and how everything is. On average, you're roughly spending about $3,000 to have that data skip traced. So that's either including like you doing it, you doing some yourself, paying these companies to do it, roughly $3,000. Then again, you have to pay for cold callers, whether those are the VAs, you're going to hire some local talent, whatever you're going to do. We've kind of broken this down as well, where roughly $8 an hour, maybe some commission, 2 to 3 cold callers, you're roughly about $3,800. So you start adding this information in. Once you skip trace everything and you get everything down, you thought you'd have a list of 20,000. Turns out it's closer to like 10, maybe 15. Then you're going to have to hit all these. You're on average paying about 15 cents per skip trace that you're doing. So again, I'm kind of showing you where we get these. So we're just digging a little bit deeper every single time we're doing this, and we're adding that money onto that business credit card. I see everybody's all about the points, and I love it. So you're getting those points, but as you're getting those points, you're in this hole already before you even know it. And on average, like Tim said, he's broken down some of the statistics on when you will get hits, when you get in calls. But in all honesty, guys, before you even have a deal on the table, you're already about $7,000 in hole. And I feel like I'm being a little conservative when we do these numbers. We just want to be a little bit fair when we present this to you. But in all honesty, that's really kind of where we came up with that. So again, do not fall into the trap of traditional marketing. I want to emphasize that as best as I can here. Let me go down. I don't know what those blue lines are, guys. Sorry, I can't get rid of them if they're bugging anybody. Next is, have you ever heard this from a seller? So these are some of the things that were one when I was doing this about 2, 3 years ago. These are some of the lines that I would hear that would really just get me into the core. So the first one, and I would love to have people enter into this chat, tell me a little bit about it. But the first one that I hate the most is I sold that house 3 months ago. So you're paying your cold callers, you're maybe doing some yourself. You get somebody saying, "Oh man, you just missed me. I just sold that 3 months ago." You're way late to the game. That one really pissed me off the most because one, I paid for this list, I paid for this data, whether I'm doing a PPL, and that they say that type of comment for a PPL, I just paid $400 for, and they sold it 3 months ago. I'm again, this one really bugs me because of my competitive spirit. So, and then like most of you are, I know a lot of you are some hunters, you're some killers out there. You know, if you can get in front of that motivated seller when you need to, you have a really strong chance at actually being that person that they choose. So again, that was a hard one. Another one, you're the 50th person to call me this week. So I know like the PPLs, like Tim mentioned, they're selling it to you for $400, but they're also selling it to this one and this one and that one and this one. So there's that where you're competing against all those specific individuals. And then when it comes to the bulk data, obviously hundreds of people are getting those. So this one, I just didn't understand. I couldn't wrap my head around why I would pay the amount that I was paying to be the 50th person to talk to them this week alone. So then the last one, guys, and please throw a comment in there if you've heard this and or if any of these bug you. But again, the next one is I'm already working with another investor. This one really got me. So it just means that I'm just a little late to the game. If only I could have just got him just a little bit sooner, I would have had a solid chance to actually be that person and to make that buck. This one is these are just some of the top things that we have. I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. You will hear this if you haven't started. If you do any of these did these bulk data lists or you do the PPLs or any of that stuff, just like I'm sure Tim will break down and kind of tell you about that. But moving on. So the next one is I want to focus on who we help the most. So let's talk about the flippers. Flippers, when you use the data syndicate and the fresh data that we provide you, this allows you to control your deal flow, which in turn you can launch your own campaign. When you're able to control the deal flow, this allows you to have a smaller team. You're not paying for the VAs, you're not paying for certain marketing techniques. You are getting this data that you know that you want to focus on, that again allows you to have a smaller team control the flow and you get deeper pockets. You're getting deeper deals. You're not having to pay fees to somebody else to find these deals for you. And then, like Tim mentioned at the beginning of this call, your ultimate goal with your business is to unlock scalability. So now I want to talk about the wholesalers. I know there's a lot of wholesalers in here. The biggest thing with the wholesalers, guys, is speed to the seller. This is huge. You're not going to be the 50th person that week to reach out to somebody. You are going to be one of the first people to get this information and to be in front of that distressed seller, which in turn is going to give you efficient spend. That is very big. Having the ability to focus your money into one niche is amazing. I can't emphasize that part enough. With all that, this is going to give you a higher return on your investment. So you're paying less, you're getting in front of those distressed sellers sooner, and you're getting a higher return on your investment. And again, this is going to unlock your scalability. This is only going to allow you to grow and make those markets even more profitable. Um, so now I want to kind of bring up this slide. The next one is why doesn't every organization do this or every data provider do this? Well, the first off, runners are required. I would be really, I would love to see how many people actually do this now. If you actually go to the courthouse and get these data, but the biggest thing is you have to have runners that actually go to these clerks, go to these courthouses, wait in line. They go in. Sometimes they sit there for hours. You can't bring your phone into some of them. You have to write all the information down right there in the courthouse. Very, very time consuming. You get some of the documents, you then have to filter through all the documents. So that's the first one. Runners are required, a lot of time, a lot of money spent in that charge. You have to usually pay per file that you actually get. So there's a charge that county will charge you per file. Next is the relationship. You have to, and we all know how important relationships are, guys. So relationship with the clerk. And that's the biggest thing. Sometimes you go to a clerk house and it's clerk assisted. You have to ask them to get the files that have come in because they're not electronically assisted. It means these files are in a manila folder. They have to filter through them, pull them, give them to you. When you've built a relationship and you know that Susan loves a chocolate chip cookie, our runners walk in, hand her those chocolate chip cookies. the same time every day. She knows she's getting it. She knows what we need. They get it to us. We upload it. That's how our process works. And again, some of the data is not even released. So there's some of that. Again, I've heard of a lot of people in these meetings. They'll go into the courthouses almost daily and they'll wait in their at their local in their county and they go in at 2 o'clock, but really the results for a distress foreclosure comes in at 3 o'clock. So they missed it. They don't get it until they go in the next day. Guys, with what we've done, the algorithms, our integrations, how we've mastered these relationships and our runners, we get the data from the source as soon as it's released. This is a huge competitive advantage. I'm going to say it one more time. We're getting this data of distressed real estate sellers the second it is released. We're getting that information. Okay, so next. Oh, I just get to the same slide. Okay, the important of niche data, guys. Just like Tim's already talked about, we know how important it is. But what we do is we are going to give you a list of strong distress factors. So this gets you in front of motivated sellers. We're going to talk a little bit about what distress factors there are and what we focus on here at the Data Syndicate. But the biggest thing is it's going to be real estate focused. Next is you're getting hard timelines with foreclosures. So again, the way that I like to present this is when some of the lists that you're getting now or some of the data that you get on foreclosures, PPLs or the bulk, there's no dates, there's no time frames, there's no hard timelines. The way I like to present it is you're just some guy with a shotgun just firing it out in a big meadow. With our timelines, you know exactly what's going on, when it's taking place. So it allows you to be a sniper. You don't have 1,000 bullets just firing off. You have one bullet and you know exactly when to fire it. That's the best way that I can explain that part if you don't already understand that. The next is well, you get to unlock the ability to get 50 times your return on investment. Because if you're not paying all this money, you're not paying for all these mailers, you're not doing all this stuff, you're focusing on one distress factor or maybe a couple or the ones that are the most that work the best in your area, the return is it's there and you will see it take place. And then next, you're building relationships with the sellers before they start getting 100 calls a day. That is one of the most important parts. Again, we're already experiencing this. This is a huge thing with the bulk data, the PPLs. This is a thing. You're competing against hundreds of people. When you're getting up to date, fresh data, either daily, and again, we'll talk about how you can get this through our system, or on a weekly basis, you are going to be one of the first people to get in front of them. And again, we know why that's so important. You are getting a distress factor such as like a divorce. So you know someone just barely filed for divorce. We all know, divorce isn't easy. It's hard. And you're the first person to call them, show some empathy, let them know like, hey, we'd love to make this as easy as possible for you. You build that relationship with them. They're going to remember you. Again, that's just kind of one of the niches that we like to have people focus on. But let's kind of go into it a little bit more. So with ours, guys, we have data that is delivered fresh and it's distress list directly from the source. And this is delivered to you on a weekly basis. So every Saturday when you wake up, you're going to have a nice, beautiful list from us that breaks down what distress list it is, divorce, foreclosure, probates, you name it. It's all broken down and it's fresh and it's given to you on a weekly basis. The next part is data that is pure. So the most intense cleaning in the industry. So we're going to remove all the duplicates. You're not going to waste money on any of your callers or your mailers or whatever marketing technique you want to do with what we're providing you. You're not wasting it. It is clean. It's real estate focused. There's tenant screenings, and obviously there's some other secret stuff that I can't dive into, but you know what I want to do actually real quick too, if we can we drop the link to scheduling a call? I want to drop one now. We're talk about it again. But guys, when you schedule the call with our team, they're going to walk you through it. They're going to tell you some of the additional things that we do with this. And then kind of jumping into the skip tracing part. I haven't dived into this really at all. We are giving you tier one skip tracing. So this is I guess best as you could possibly get duplicates. Another one that I really like to focus on with this is like probates. This is what I ran into a lot. I would get probates that were like for someone who passed away and it was like their high-end watch or their car or whatever it might be. That happens. If that's happened to you, put something in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. It's a complete waste of time, but we skip trace it so the information you're getting is exactly what you need. You're not wasting anything, and it comes complimentary with our service. We're trying to make the biggest thing that I want to say too is when you succeed, we succeed. So that's what we're trying to accomplish when we do all these things. And then this is the first time I've actually ever presented this. I know you guys probably have listened to a lot of people come into these masterminds and they say things like this. I'm being as completely genuine as I possibly can. This is the first time we've ever offered this. It just barely came into works where we are offering the same day delivery on this data. So, uh, this allows you to be the first investor to get in front of that motivated seller. We do put a cap on it. We do not saturate this market with the same day. I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in just a minute. But again, you can have data the next day someone has filed for divorce or a foreclosure or any of those distress lists. All right, now let me go to the next page. So let's talk a little bit about the list. So the first one, foreclosures. We understand what a foreclosure is. We understand how that works. And guys, if you're asking questions and my support isn't hitting them up, sorry, I'm in a flow. I'm just kind of going. So ask questions, but we will do a little Q&A at the end. So keep those down, write them in there. We can hit them up if we don't hit them. But getting back, so foreclosures, that's one that we obviously really focus on. Probates, like I mentioned, probates that are real estate focused. You're not wasting your time, you're not wasting your money, you're marketing dollars. Second, divorces. We have found that divorces are huge. Again, I gave you that little analogy how important it is to build that relationship with someone going through a hard time like that. So again, divorces, the second it's filed. Next one, which we have found, because and another thing that we do, guys, is we partner with our top clients. Again, like Tim, we ask him what's working for you, what kind of niches are working for you. Again, evictions is big. So another little analogy, we got a guy named Eric, and he is a landlord, and he just filed for an eviction for one of his renters. You're gonna get it. You're gonna know. You can reach out to Eric. Eric, I see it as an eviction, super frustrating. Don't want to throw anything down your throat, but if you're ever open to just kind of getting this off of your plate, we love to kind of explore some options with you. Super big, working really well in our with the data that we're providing. Evictions, you're getting code violations, and again, there's a lot more that we're providing, and you're going to get every one of these lists in your area. So some areas and some counties that will give you when you book the call, they will dive into you tell them what counties and what country or what counties and what states you want to focus on. They'll dive into it and they'll tell you like the percentages we're getting, what you can expect to get. And they'll break down each one of these and any additional ones you want us to look into. They'll give you some numbers on those as well. So again, then booking the call, guys, very important. It's free. If it's not for you, the call will take 5 minutes. If it's for you, the call can take an hour. But again, I really encourage you just to book the call and just see if this is something that works for you. The amount is within your realm. But I love this slide. This is one of my favorite slides. The competition, guys. You're going out of business. You are targeting old data. You are wasting your marketing bucks. You are getting bad skip tracing, or you just have to fully skip trace it yourself. And you're getting in front of non-motivated sellers. That's the biggest thing. You're not talking to motivated sellers. You're playing a losing game. There's another thing that I have to kind of put on this that we can't like put on our slides because there's no data that backs it up. But one thing when you're hitting these bulk lists and you get bad skip tracing and you're getting people that say, don't call me, you're the 50th person to call me, I already sold. When you're doing it yourself or you're paying a team, VAs, and or you're just hired some people locally like Tim, and you're calling and you're calling and you keep getting no's and hang up and this and that, that phone, guys, gets really heavy at the end of the day. That phone is getting hard to pick up. You're not motivated. It gets really hard, especially when you start doing this for weeks on end. That again, I've been in this position. I've been the person that does it itself, trying to save money, not paying my own team. It's really hard. But then once I can tell you, once you actually get one who's interested or you get a deal, that lightens your spirits completely up. I just can't tell you how awesome that part is. So when you're getting fresh data with not 10,000, 20,000 leads and you're getting, 1,000 or a couple hundred or whatever it is a week, I'm telling you, when you're getting one out of every 5 calls is a positive conversation, you're so ready and your team is so ready to pick up that phone with a more upbeat attitude and hit it. But again, it's not in there. I just like to voice that one because I think it's very, very important. But on our side, guys, you're targeting the purest niche data. Our information is allowing you to focus on what you do well with, whether that's divorces, foreclosures, both of them, all of them. Again, and you can even set up marketing techniques to focus on that exact niche, if you will. Riches are in the niches. We've all heard the saying, riches are in the niches. So being the first person to talk to a seller obviously is going to provide you with an insane ROI. You're playing with a competitive advantage when you're using the bulk data, you're doing the PPLs, you're just playing a losing game. All you're doing is you're instantly in a competition. Okay, guys, so now I want to talk about this premium license. This is again brand new. I'm not super on top of how this the whole thing. So again, we'll do some Q&As at the end of this. But the premium licensing is going to make us provide you with same day delivery. So as soon as a foreclosure is done that day or a divorce or whatever, you're going to get that targeted seller right in that same day that it's been filed. So you'll get that email directly from us. Boom. Hey, here's a quick list of today's, divorces of the full list that you've applied for, and you will know before they even know. And again, I want to kind of tell you how this works. So again, this is pretty new. So we're going to hear a lot more stories that I'm about to present to you. But we've had a few people already with the weekly ones where they've called and they said, "Hey man, I just talked to Mary. Mary was somebody that was set to a pre-foreclosure by the bank, a little back end. Mary is having a hard time. She's a little bit behind on her payments. The bank has deemed a pre-foreclosure on her home, and it's a Friday. So they mark the pre-foreclosure and send out that notice. Well, guess what? That goes out snail mail. So best case scenario, maybe she gets it on Saturday, but most likely she's going to get it on Monday. So when you get the same day delivery or next day, like on Saturday, you are going to know that Mary is in pre-foreclosure before Mary even knows that she's in pre-foreclosure, which is absolutely insane. I can't tell you, we've have the stories to back it up. I know it sounds wild, but it's legit. And then again, you're first to market. When you're getting the same day delivery of things, you are 100% the first person to market that county data. There's no doubt about it. Um, Again, limited seats with this, guys. We don't saturate this premium licensing. So if you're like in LA County and we have 100 seats in LA County, we're not going to saturate it and give 1,000 people same day data. That's not how we operate. We want to make sure that we're talking the talk and walking the walk. So we cap our markets. If it's available in your option, we will let you know. If it is not, we will let you know that the weekly one is an option. And then sometimes, guys, even the weekly ones won't be an option in your area, but you could get on the wait list. We just want to be as fair as we 100% can be. We want to make sure they're getting the best bang for their dollar. And then going off of this, guys, this again is a one-time thing. We partner with our top clients, like I mentioned. We try and get the best practices. Tim is a beautiful example of this. So Tim has been very successful because of the data that we've been providing. Tim has built a great following. He's allowed us to come in here, so this is big for us. We do not do this. We will not do this. If it doesn't work, if you're not one of the we say for the first 25 new clients only. It could be the first 15. It could be the first like 30. We're just trying to get more people to be more successful on our marketplace. This is like a $30,000, mastermind fee to get where they partner with you, they work with you, they tell you what to do, what's working best in your area, some of the niche data, some of the marketing techniques. We will do that for you. Again, we're only going to do it for the first 25 people is what this says and what my team has said, but that could vary. But again, they will do a one-on-one marketing call with you. If you do sign up, they will then set it up. You will market with our top marketer. Most likely it's going to be Eric. He's the man. He knows everything about this. He will pull all the actual numbers for your area and tell you what's happening. He'll tell you what to do, how to do it, kind of give you some best practices, what you can expect. Super awesome. So again, another reason why you should just book the free meeting. If we are within your realm and you want to rock this and you do qualify for this, he will let you know. If you ask about it and he says it's full, I am so sorry. We just don't have the dedicated time for something like this, but that is there. Super huge. I can't emphasize how amazing this slide in particular is. So book a call, make it happen. Maybe ask about it if they don't present it to you. See if they'll put you on there. But again, just depends. Last but not least, guys, book a free call. I'm telling you right now, it's 100% free. You're hopping on Tim's webinar right now. It means that you're ready to scale your business. You're ready to be successful. Guys, this costs you nothing to book a call. Like I said, if we don't have the availability in your area, we don't have enough data, we don't have the niche that you want to focus on in your area for your counties, then we will tell you. It'll be a 5-minute call. If we feel like we can really help you succeed, it's an awesome area. You can get thousands of leads a month, a couple hundred a day, whatever it might be. We will tell you, we will dive into your specific area. Guys, I know a lot of the slots have actually been filling up. I'm actually looking at the calendar. So you guys have been booking, which is awesome. Thank you so much. It looks like maybe even tomorrow's already full, maybe the next day already, but just book a time. This will be good for a few days. So make sure you book it. When you do book it with this QR code or the links that we've been dropping, make sure it should already apply the 10% from what he tells you. But tell him that you were in this webinar from Tim. Make sure you get that 10%. I think this lasts for I think it's like 5 days, maybe 7 days. But that's really it, guys. I'd love to have Tim jump back in here, maybe kind of share some of his thoughts on this, and then open it up to a little bit of Q&A and see if we can answer any questions.
Yo, can you hear me?
I can.
Yo, what's up? All right. I'll tell you one story real quick. What I did in Louisville. So I did a Louisville data
Can you
pull. I think we
spotlight
got,
yourself?
yeah, of course. You guys want to see my ugly mug? Am I pinned? I'm gonna pin you too. All right. So yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. So we did a data pull in Louisville, Kentucky. It was a pre-foreclosure list with code violations. So if you guys don't know, every county is a little different. Every county provides different data publicly. So in Louisville, Kentucky, they were only doing pre-foreclosures and code violations, right?
Yep. Yep.
And in my current market, so if you guys don't know, I'm wholesaling in Houston, Texas. They provide probate, divorce, pre-foreclosure, every single list that I personally want. So that's why I went virtual because my original market didn't have it. But in Louisville, Kentucky, I was getting about 134 records a month, which is really small compared to what I was getting now in Houston. So in Houston, I get about 1,000. In Kentucky, I was getting about 130. And one call, I think the first month, we got a pre-foreclosure lead from the data, skip traced. We called her like 3, 4 times. Like, if you guys don't know, I cold call people like crazy. So we called her, we reached her, and that was actually a deal where the seller was just overexcited that they had someone asking her how she was doing, right? Because remember, people that are reaching out to these sellers, right? In foreclosure, it's a little different from the other lists, right? Because pre-foreclosure or when you're going through a foreclosure and there's an auction, that's public data. Everyone's calling them. But when we reached that seller, it was really accurate data, and we actually bought that property. We saved her from a bankruptcy, and we actually lease optioned that property and got paid like $12,000 to buy a cash flowing property that makes about $400 or $500 a month, right? And that was strictly off the data. And then the second quick story. So I do the same day data in Houston. So if a record gets published into the city on the 12th, I was getting that data on the 13th. And I was calling lease pendants leads. I was testing out the data before I gave it to my VAs and callers. And basically what happened was I called the lease pendants and I was like, hey, bro, I bet you're getting a lot of phone calls from people like me. And the guy literally was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about because I didn't even know that I was missing mortgage payments, right? Like, bro, can you imagine, guys, can you imagine being the first person to call a freaking seller and then you're literally letting them know, hey, bro, you're gonna get a piece of mail from the city saying that you've been missing payments. And you may not believe me now, but when you do, please hit me up because we want to help you, right? You're not being a crappy salesman. You're not being like a weirdo. But can you imagine that you're calling lists of data and you're the first person to call them? You're not getting yelled at. You're the freaking 45. You're the 45th person that's called me this week. It's absolutely powerful, right? Speed to lead. So if you're getting the same day data, so I'll tell you right now, if you guys end up doing the same day data and you get the data on the 14th and you don't call them until like the 16th, there's literally no point of you doing that, right? You want, well, if you get the same day data package and you get that data, you want to call them immediately. You want to call them the same day, right? Because you want to get the speed to lead. You want to be that first person in the shoot. Because I guarantee you right now, like if I get to the seller first because of our styled and sales teams, I'm most likely going to get that deal, right? Don't be that person that talks to a seller that says, "Oh, I already signed the contract already with somebody else." Don't be that person. Cool. Enough to rant. Want to do live Q&A?
Let's do it.
Cool. Homies, guys, do you guys have any questions for us? Like, we'll be happy to answer any questions. Feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat. Oh, dude, Houston sold out. Thank God.
And again, that's another reason, right? Like, guys,
Yeah, thank
we
God.
don't saturate the market. We don't want to have, that's not what our ultimate goal is. Our ultimate goal is that have people like you succeed, so we succeed. So you continue to use our stuff, we look better. I mean, it's there, man. That's our ultimate goal.
Yeah, yeah. Good old competition's good, but I don't want 10, 15 people to have this data. Tristan, can you break down how you are marketing to the same day data in Houston? Yeah. So basically like what we were talking about earlier, right? When the data comes out, we're gonna cold call them, right? We're gonna cold call them multiple times because remember, like with the same day data, you're not getting 1,000 records a day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're getting whatever's being pushed through the city. So some days we have 10, some days we have 50, some days we have 100 records. It just depends on what's going on in the city. But we want to cold call them multiple times and we also send emails the same day. And if you guys don't know, I have emails built out, campaigns, right, for each niche of data. So if they're going to if they're on the divorce list, they're getting divorce niche data, right? And remember, guys, you guys want to freaking get on a one-on-one call, right? Because Eric is an amazing guy. So when I talked to Eric, he dropped so much value, right? He told me what data was available for the city, how many records on average they produce every single month. And he's going to tell you, depending on, how much marketing spend you have or what strategy you are currently working on, he
Yep.
can really build out that plan for you, right? And remember, he's doing that free one-on-one for you, no freaking charge for the first 25 people that sign up. So I know we're filling up spots, but if you haven't already booked a call, it's freaking for free. Okay?
Yeah, and like he said, they'll tell you like in your market in particular what they can provide, what numbers they can provide you, what you can like expect to get on a weekly or daily basis. We're very transparent. We're not trying to hide anything. You'll know like where you can focus and what you should do. If you do qualify for one of those 25, I was pretty transparent that you should, but if you don't, I'm sorry. But if you do the one-on-one marketing, which is wild, they will then tell you best practices.
100%, right? Do you try to stop the foreclosure yourself or you hire someone to do it? Our team does it internally, right? So if you're doing this type of data, you definitely want to learn the niches, right? Because the riches are in the niches, right? Or the niches are in the riches. I don't know which one, but you want to, if you're dealing with foreclosures and your lists are foreclosures, you want to be the subject matter expert, right? Because remember, it's a sales thing. And how can you sell a product if you don't know how it works, right? And if you know how to stop a foreclosure yourself or someone on your team does, you can provide that value like that much quicker to the seller, and that's going to convert into a higher ROI. Percent people per market, right? I don't know. We were probably ranting about something.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming they're just asking. Yeah. So I don't know if this is maybe going off of like what percent you can expect. It's all dependent on your market, right? So
Yep.
depending on what market you're in, we'll have again when you book that call, they'll tell you on estimate you should be getting roughly about this many divorces, this many probates. This is what we're seeing. We provide data before we allow that county to go live, for you can actually buy that information. But yes, it all depends. And same thing with pricing. You're in a county that they're getting 1,000 leads a week, or you're in a county that you're getting 100 leads a week. It's going to be a little bit different. The price is going to fluctuate.
100%. And I see William. What about Hillsboro? Well, you got to book a call, brother. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's full or
yeah,
not.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. Well, I wish I could be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Hillsborough is open. Now that you say it off the top of my head, I know like the main ones that are locked.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like Tampa, right?
yeah, exactly. So you're good there.
Cool.
You book a
Hey,
call and
Mona.
he'll tell you what you can expect.
Yeah. Hey, Mona. I see your question got answered. They do have Cleveland. It's good to see you. Okay, Robert, do you have some scripts for these? Yeah, bro. I'll send you a list. How about you send me a DM on Instagram, bro, and I'll send you some scripts. Matt Johnson. For properties going to auction, is that too late to help them? That's a real estate question. No, I've stopped auctions with 2 days left. And if it's Matt Johnson from Louisville, you know I can stop an auction in 2 days. So it's good to see you, brother. Do you guys have guys on your team that walk through houses with the sellers when evaluating a price? Or do you guys go off comps? That's SOP driven by your business. We do not do in-person things anymore. We're fully virtual in Houston, right? So, if you're fully virtual, this is not like a SOP type meeting, but just to give you a quick response is if you get something under contract, you want to go to the process call with them, get the whole details of the property, and then you can underwrite it real quick. Once you get on their contract, you can send a inspector out there to take pictures and to actually inspect the property, right? And then you can renegotiate from there. Cool. Hillsboro has 2 spots left, so Will, that's all you, brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it does. My
It's all
support's
you.
on it right now though.
Are there any other questions, guys?
Cool.
Yes,
Cool.
I have a question, Tim. Hi, how are you?
Hey, what up?
So how is our support system here? Do we have meetings after purchasing the program to see how we're doing or
Yeah,
how
yeah,
to
exactly.
scale up
So
our
we're not just gonna feed you to the wolves. That's not how we operate, right? We definitely have a support
that's what I would
system.
like to know.
Yeah, no, you we have a
Cannot
support
assume. I
system. We'll
cannot
make
assume and just do. Yes.
Yep. So you'll get a list. We'll make sure that you understand it. I mean, the list is very self-explanatory. It's very clean and clear. But yeah, if you had questions, you would just reach out to our support. We could even schedule another call with you, or if you want to go through a list, or after a couple weeks, schedule another call with our team, and they'll look at it and they'll talk you through some stuff. But again, yes, we're here to help you. We'll break things down for you. That's 100%. Good question.
Yeah, Mona, don't
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
not hit me up, right? If you got issues or questions, like let me help you as well, right? I want you to be successful as well, okay?
yeah. Do you remember me, Tim?
I do remember you. I met you in Florida.
Right. So I
Of
have a picture.
course.
Yes. I
Yeah.
spoke with you when you were still in Kentucky.
Yeah. No, no. I moved. I've moved unfortunately. But it's good to see you.
Unfortunately, you did.
Yeah. Peter, what's up, brother? Hey, you're mute.
Tim, what's your like vision? Um, so
I can't really hear you, Peter.
you can't hear me?
Oh,
Oh,
I can like a little bit.
can you hear me now? Better?
Oh
Yep, yep,
yeah,
yep.
better.
All right, cool. What's kind of the trajectory for the company? Your long-term vision for what you're doing because you have great data. Does it get any better, or you guys perfected it, or are you guys looking to expand in other
That's a good
not
Yeah,
question.
opportunities
our
but
ultimate
offers and
goal is
services?
yeah, no, I love this question. I've actually never been asked this before. I mean, our ultimate goal is to be within every county, and have an integrated system for every single county so that we can get that same day delivery built. I mean, that's our ultimate goal right now, right? Is we really want to provide you with the most fresh data that we can clean as quickly as possible so you have it by tomorrow. That is our goal right now. Like I told you, this presentation was really the first time that we've ever offered the same day or next day, data because we have counties that we can do it. We've already built those out. There's some counties that we haven't, and so if you ask about it, they'll be like, "Sorry, we don't have that available." We're very transparent, but yes, a great question. I love it. Our ultimate goal is to give you every county as much information as we possibly can as fast as we can. That's our ultimate goal. We're still working. It's hard because a lot of these courthouses, like I mentioned, are clerk assisted. So, and that's where like a big pain point is. So these are manila
Hmm.
folders. There's no electronic stuff going on. There's no nothing, and it makes it really hard. But yes, to answer your question, that provide everybody the fastest data that we possibly can. I would say that's our ultimate goal for the next 5 years is just make it faster and make it better.
Yeah, guys, like they kind of hit on it earlier, right? Like some counties don't even have online portals yet. It's still that nice old lady at the local clerk office that's printing off records, right? So, you know, every market's kind of crazy on how they pull data. So it's like it's a lot of work, right? So can you imagine, with the help of AI coming out? Because I saw that message. It's a secret, guys, but yeah, that they're working on the AI stuff. Okay, so I see a question about email. So yes, I build out automation emails on a CRM, right? So go high level, whatever CRM that you want to use, and you can automate everything, right? And if you don't get a response in 7 days, then you can set up another automation for cold outreach, right? And yeah, you can literally port your phone numbers because like you get the data, and then you can literally take the data that Data Syndicate gets you, you can export it into a CSV, and you drop that into ready mode, and then you can start dialing.
Yeah, and I also see a question that I know is kind of answered, but I'll answer it too. To have your county be like set as yours, you do actually have to either, actually sign up. So I want to make that clear. We obviously have plenty of different options, whether you do like the monthly, the quarterly, the yearly. It's all there, but yes, you actually have to sign up to close off your location from other, individuals like yourselves.
We love Maria at the courthouse. Yeah, 100%. I love Maria. I bring her coffee and donuts. Simon, bro. Yes, I stopped texting because of that one thing. No, honestly, it really is up to you, right? It's up to you. And we gotta wrap up, right? It's 8:30 at night. I love all you guys that stayed on. But I'm gonna answer this one question. I don't text anymore because it's a lot of risk, right? It's a lot of risk for texting, so it's really up to you. But yeah, so that's pretty much why, besides my wife. So guys, let's wrap this up. Does anyone have any last questions before we wrap up? Because we've been talking for 2 hours, and I love you guys. You guys are absolutely incredible.